From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Max Darrow. Welcome to our Saturday Showcase. We begin with how the government shutdown in Washington is reaching people closer to home. In a moment, Kelsey Thorud looks at this week's court ruling in San Francisco against mass firings and what it means for federal workers. But first, Brad Hamilton introduces us to a food bank employee helping to feed people as they work without pay at a Bay Area airport.
Make sure that we got all the things that we need and things like this are really practice for future things that are coming.
Reggie Young has made a life focused on the needs of others.
The cool thing that I will say is that the Bay Area tends to step up.
This particular day, that meant coming to the Oakland Airport for a makeshift food drive held in the close quarters of a TSA break room. TSA workers are among the federal employees caught in the middle of a government shutdown. Some were on hand to help with the food deliveries today, but we were told the TSA agents weren't available to talk.
We'll do it as long as it's needed.
The executive director of the Alameda County Food Bank makes no bones about their limited resources and the growing need in this area.
Hey, it does look like beans.
We're seeing an increase in the number of people that are coming to them with food security needs. And so this is month over month.
But with the federal government shutdown now at day 16, it was time to deliver some relief to employees that are clocking in and clocking out without a payday.
It has a monetary value that supplements other costs that people are experiencing, right? Folks still have to pay their rent, folks still have to put gas in their car, and this is a help in support of that.
Kaylee Scantz with the Oakland Airport estimates that nearly 300 employees are working for free right now. This includes TSA agents, Border Patrol, and air traffic controllers.
They offer really important work here at OAK, keeping the traveling public safe, and we're glad that the food bank was able to contribute in this way.
Reggie says this is what they do, and it's why they do it. Back in 2018, during another shutdown, the Alameda County Food Bank supported more than 1,000 federal employees with deliveries just like this one.
There's always something in our environment that we have to adapt to, whether that's an earthquake, a fire, or a government shutdown.
The hope is that something changes in D.C. sooner rather than later.
It stretches our team, it stretches our network, and so forth. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that over the course of the next couple of years.
Until then, Reggie and his team do what they do best, meet the need wherever and whenever they can.
We believe food is a basic human right, and we think everybody should have access to the nourishment that they need.
This past week, a federal judge in San Francisco handed thousands of federal workers a victory, for the time being at least, as they try to keep their jobs. Kelsey Thorud introduces us to a professor interpreting the ruling and to a supporter of those workers who showed up at the courthouse.
Judy McKeever was outside the federal courthouse in San Francisco Tuesday morning, showing her support for federal workers, as lawyers inside the building argued before a judge asking for a temporary restraining order to stop the Trump administration's mass firings of workers during the government shutdown.
The federal workers are being used as pawns of Trump. He's using this for political reasons, not for financial reasons.
Lawyers for AFSCME and AFG, two unions that represent countless federal employees, argued the president's firings would cause irreparable harm. The judge agreed, granting that TRO for now stopping the administration from carrying out any more firings. Jessica Levinson, a professor at Loyola Law School, explains.
This temporary restraining order, or TRO, is just emergency relief. And the Trump administration is don't move forward with the firing of federal workers. Don't fire people who you're just about to plan to fire, and don't fire other people, at least until this case plays out.
The Trump administration didn't argue the merits of the case in court. Instead, they focused their argument on the belief that the case was not within the court's jurisdiction.
It is unusual when you have a hearing on a temporary restraining order that one party is not prepared to have a discussion on the merits. But the Trump administration was basically making two arguments here. One, that the district court judge did not have jurisdiction, and two, that there wasn't going to be irreparable harm if these firings could continue.
The judge clearly disagreeing with that argument, granting the temporary restraining order. That TRO will stay in effect as the case makes its way through the court system.
So there will be more arguments, more briefing, and there will be a fuller development of the record. And then the judge will determine whether or not those challenging the Trump administration will get longer relief.
Longer relief, people like Judy McKeever believe is not just necessary, but critical.
He's not even talking about furloughing them and paying them later. He's talking about laying them off permanently. This is wrong. This is America, and we need to fight for democracy because right now it's at risk.
Time now for our first look at the weather on this Saturday morning. And Zoe, you've got something in particular you wanted to showcase when it comes to next week, correct?
Yeah, well, next week is our next big push of rain. An atmospheric river will be heading our way. The Pacific Northwest looks like it will be the big bullseye, but actually our recent models have been trending downwards a little bit. So Northern California now looks like it could potentially be the bullseye of this. That will include the North Bay communities. And it's still, again, question mark how much rain.
Sure.
But we do know next weekend is going to be a lot more active than this weekend. So I highly suggest you enjoy a beautiful sunrise to kick off our day, showing our current satellite and radar all across the country. There's some severe weather across the central United States, so that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this big swirly whirl of a storm system. That low pressure system is actually going to be impacting the Pacific Northwest over the next 24 to 48 hours. But it's really not going to be pushing any farther south than maybe in northern Oregon. Other than that, Northern California might get a few isolated sprinkles, but the Bay Area, little to nothing to talk about when it comes to rainfall. What we are going to be seeing from that storm system, though, is a northwesterly swell. That is the reason that we have our beach hazards and high rip currents and high sneaker wave potential today and into tomorrow. As that storm system, as it impacts the Pacific Northwest, again, the swell from it is going to travel down the coast. So if we take a closer look in California, it's a lot of us that are being impacted by those high surfs, high rip currents, all the way from Monterey and Big Sur, all the way up to Northern California. These beach alerts are in effect. And again, the reason is because of that storm system to our north. I'll break down the details, though, on when rain will be heading our way, though, because like I said, next weekend is going to feel a lot different than this one, coming up in my full forecast. Back to you, Max.
Thank you for that, Zoe. We'll look forward to that coming up after the break. We'll meet a man who has a renewed sense of hope now that he's moved off the streets and into affordable housing in Oakland. Stay with me. Welcome back. Now to examples of progress in creating affordable housing options here in the Bay Area. In a moment, Suji Nam will introduce us to a man in Lafayette who will soon get a place of his own for the very first time with the specialized care that he needs to thrive. But first, Amanda Harry shows us how a man moving into affordable housing in Oakland is changing lives for the better, including his own.
So this is similar to my unit because I live in a studio. Studio looks like.
For Edward Fields, this is the first time an apartment like this has been accessible for him. A new build and a place to call his own. Just a few years ago, he was experiencing homelessness.
I've been there, done that.
He says it was unsettling and unpredictable. And this area is no stranger to it. Prescott Station is at the corner of Wood Street and 20th Street, built on land that used to be home to one of Oakland's largest homeless encampments, spanning blocks with hundreds of people. Now it's been transformed and having a positive impact on Fields' life.
It's nicer, it's safe, it's secure, and I basically don't have to worry about being out in the street or anything like that, or worry about where I'm gonna lay my head down at, or, you know, I have all my ducks in a row now.
The complex has 235 units. It provides housing that is affordable to households earning up to 80% of the area median income. Fields qualifies for that. Safe, stable housing has allowed him to have a positive impact on others.
Thank you.
He works with unhoused veterans. He can relate to them and be living proof of hope.
That's why I do the work that I do, because I want to set up others to where they don't have to come back to the shelter or come back to transitional housing.
Mayor Barbara Lee spoke during the grand opening celebration. highlighting the significance of West Oakland in her life.
I used to live at 21st and Filbert and raised my kids there for many years.
While she's disappointed about what's happened in recent years, she's optimistic about the turn the neighborhood is taking.
For too many years, though, this community has faced displacement and disinvestment. Prescott Station is part of changing that narrative.
2, 1.
Fields agrees. He's only lived in West Oakland since April, but is impressed by Prescott Market, Raimondi Park, and his new home, Prescott Station. He's looking forward to the future and grateful he has a front row seat to watch it flourish.
I want to see Oakland come back to its former glory. That will be my hope for the future.
A family in Lafayette is anticipating the creation of housing for people with developmental disabilities. They tell our Suji Nam how this new community could really change their lives.
That one.
For the past 17 years,
I'm showing you the garbage.
Chris Treat has been taking out his neighbors' garbage bins.
They've been gone since September 22nd. I knew their black and blue can would be empty.
You'll find him diligently taking out the trash once a week.
I like helping people.
Chris is 31 years old. He was diagnosed with autism when he was nearly 3 years old.
And what if Dad and I told you that's called?
All back on memory.
His mother Nancy says he has a rare gift, knowing the days and dates of something even random that happened in his life.
April 16, 2022.
When his brother played baseball.
A Saturday.
Chris lives with his parents.
There you go. We do this once a week to help keep his scalp clear.
Nancy and her husband Steve have been desperately searching for a community that supports those with developmental disabilities.
We've looked at private options and they are unaffordable.
With no luck, it's forced them to look for out-of-state options.
He needs to be in an environment where he is safe. That is the most important word to me.
But now there is hope. Sunflower Hill, a nonprofit organization, announced they received nearly $20 million in state funding to build permanent supportive housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Lafayette. Founder Susan Houghton says the goal is to build 48 units, but still needs more funding before construction begins.
Hope for the future that your loved one can live independently, but also not unlike senior living in a very supportive activities-based location, where if they want to go down and take a cooking class, they can. If they want to do yoga, it's there. If they want to garden, there's that opportunity.
Opportunity for Chris to grow.
Part of the question is why don't we just keep him at home? It works so well here. That'll work as long as it works, but we're not going to live forever, which is why we need to find him a place.
While Chris will need to join the lottery system for Sunflower Hill housing, they are optimistic.
He's going to get to the other end of the tunnel. There's going to be a light.
And Chris, too, is excited.
My family, my friends, my program.
Holding on to the hope for a comfortable and safe future.
When we come back, the Hayward Fault. It's due for a major earthquake sometime, sooner or later. We'll go along with seismologists as they install new equipment to better understand what is going on underground. The Hayward Fault, extending beneath several East Bay cities, is considered among the most dangerous faults to cause major earthquakes in California. Brian Hackney tags along with seismologists as they better track the movements.
At the end of a long, dusty road in the hills east of Fremont, a 500-foot hole has been drilled deep into the heart of the Hayward Fault.
I'm Todd Erickson. I'm with the Earthquake Science Center at the U.S. Geological Survey. We're here today taking out old electronics enclosure for a borehole strain meter.
The crew's busy removing the old dome protecting that borehole strain meter. A super sensitive device suspended deep in solid rock.
So we're kind of close to the Hayward Fault here?
We are. Hayward Fault is a little bit over that hill.
And just ask anybody
which fault would cause the most damage. That's the Hayward Fault.
The fault last snapped big time in 1868. And since then, stress has just been cranking up and cranking up.
As the fault is moving, but there's no earthquake occurring, we can see a gradual increase in the strain in the rock.
160 years of strain have built up since the last great quake on the Hayward Fault. So you're able to measure that strain, and scientists can sit at their desk in the comfort of their office and just look at it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We telemeter this data and we're monitoring this data. It comes back in real time.
This is one of those scientists, geophysicist Anne-Marie Bolte at USGS Moffett Field.
The strain meters are really telling us what's currently happening as the fault is moving.
This is a solar controller.
How much power does this generate?
This is 400 watts of solar.
Several of these networks are strung out along the San Andreas fault system.
The strain meter data, we can use a little bit more to see what's going on the fault right now, and that may give us a sense of how a fault is going to rupture.
How a fault is going to rupture, but not when. But since every scrap of data counts, well...
The old enclosure was getting, how should we say, decrepit.
Oh my God.
And this is what we're dealing with.
Rat's nests.
Rat's nests.
So, out goes the 30-year-old enclosure, and in comes the new.
Those electronics are going to go back in place in that new box. More user-friendly, safer, cleaner. It'll be much easier to keep the rats out.
So, Todd has solved the rodent problem. But the Hayward Fault problem, that's here to stay.
Gosh, looking at that demonstration of what is building at the fault is honestly terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, just moving to the Bay Area, that was the number one concern for me is the big one going to hit when I'm here? And no one knows. You can't predict it.
Oh.
It's coming sometime soon, though. And
it is, but it's nice to see we're getting a better look at least how.
Yes.
Not the why, and not the when, but the how.
The how is very, very important because there's so many faults across the Bay Area. The Hayward is definitely that big one that we're keeping an eye on. Let's look at those faults, though, below us across the Bay Area. All of these little lines that you see in red below me, these are all of the fault lines. So the Hayward is the big one that Brian was talking about, but there's also the San Andreas fault, which is also another big one that we know about. There's so many other faults that run across our inland communities. So any one of these has the potential of creating an earthquake. And if you do live directly underneath those, again, make sure you have a plan ready. This morning, though, no earthquakes detected, really barely any clouds in the sky detected. It is quiet. It is clear out there. I hope everybody has outdoor plans today because it's going to be absolutely gorgeous out there. Those high temperatures, a couple of degrees warmer than yesterday from down in Monterey, sitting in the low 70s along with Santa Cruz to the mid to lower 80s across our inland East Bay communities. A couple of degrees warmer than yesterday, all the way up to the North Bay, where you are going to be seeing those 80s as well. And our coastal communities, I know it says 69 in Half Moon Bay, but I would not be surprised if for the Pumpkin Festival this afternoon, it gets to the low 70s. It's going to be beautiful. I really hope you can enjoy yourself today again, because by tomorrow, you'll notice those colors getting more yellowy. That signifies the 60s, the cooler conditions that are going to arrive tomorrow. Not crazy cooler, but still, it's going to be a few degrees cooler tomorrow afternoon. Those highs inland not going to be in the mid to lower 80s, but maybe a few low 80s to upper 70s sprinkled in there. Coastal communities, mid to upper 60s, and down into the Santa Clara Valley. If you're maybe having a lucky day and get to go to the 49ers game, it's going to be warm out there if you're planning on tailgating. Direct sunlight. Don't forget the sunscreen and the sunglasses, even though, like I said, it is going to be a degree or two cooler tomorrow than today. Make sure you enjoy today while you can, though, and enjoy, honestly, the next few days ahead of us because it's going to be quiet. It's going to be clear all across the state of California. There is a storm system that's pushing across the Pacific Northwest that's going to be bringing them quite a lot of storms. But for us, it's going to dry out before it heads our way. So again, it's quiet. It is clear. Temperatures staying at or right around average through the midweek. You'll notice a little bit of tropical moisture and cloud coverage heading our way. That will likely be arriving Wednesday and into Thursday. It's not bringing us any sort of rainfall, but it's going to keep our temperatures a few degrees cooler. By the time that we step out Friday, that's when the first day of widespread rain will be moving across the Pacific Northwest, heading down across northern California. And then moving directly over the Bay Area, there's going to be widespread rainfall Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, mainly over Northern California and the Pacific Northwest. But this is just one of our many different models that we're looking at, where we are likely going to be seeing a lot more active weather next week. Again, 1 week from today, it's going to look a lot different. So I hope you all can enjoy yourselves. This is our Climate Prediction Center outlook over the next 6 to 10 days, likely going to be seeing above average precipitation, all because of that atmospheric river that right now looks like there will be a bullseye over Northern California. But again, we'll likely get in, especially across our North Bay communities, on that moisture stepping out next week. So this weekend, let's enjoy the low 80s while we can, because who knows how much longer they're going to last for. It looks like a big cool down will be heading our way next weekend, along with the chance for rain. So this weekend in the low 80s inland, in the upper 70s for areas by the bay with plenty of sunshine. Again, it's going to be gorgeous out there. Maybe even head to the beach, where we're also going to be seeing that sunshine before cloudy and cooler weather heads our way into late next week. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Zoe. Coming up after the break, a look at how artificial intelligence is in use in some Bay Area classrooms. We meet students at a new school in San Francisco where AI is essentially a teacher. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our Saturday showcase. I'm Max Darrow. We turn now our focus to ways that artificial intelligence appears to be having a practical impact. In a moment, John Ramos will introduce us to the technology mavens who believe they've solved a long-standing traffic problem in the North Bay. But first to Itai Hod and the students in San Francisco who are embracing a cutting-edge approach to teaching and to learning.
For a lot of kids, school is something you suffer through. But for 13-year-old June Rockefeller, it's become something else entirely.
I love school so much now. I think it's really fun.
June is part of the inaugural class at Alpha, a new school in San Francisco that's using AI to reimagine learning. There are no bells, no grades, not even teachers. Here, AI handles all the lessons. Adults called guides are there to help and encourage. Students spend just 2 hours on core subjects, all taught by AI apps, freeing up the rest of the day for hands-on life skills and passion projects.
I'm excited to share my app called Moleculab.
14-year-old Ethan Wong is using AI to design an app for molecular gastronomy.
It's an app that helps students ages 13 to 18.
Today's class, how to pitch a startup.
I'm going to guess in your other schools you weren't creating apps.
No, not at all.
His dad, James, admits he wasn't sure about the experiment until he saw it in action.
I had not seen that smile when he exited school in a very long time.
Okay. Carson Lehman, Alpha's lead guide, says schools have been slow to change.
I want them to see that they are able to create something. They don't need any other skills. They don't need a crazy degree in computer science. They are able to create a functioning app.
But not everyone agrees. Sandra Curiel, president of United Educators of San Francisco, says 2 hours of digital learning is a poor substitute for in-person education.
What needs to be made really, really clear is that some of the consequences of unregulated and currently unstudied AI in education settings could have potentially really impactful and negative influences on our students.
And then there's the price, $75,000 a year. Alpha says students at its other campuses score in the top 1 to 2% nationally across all grade levels.
It was really good.
For June, there's no going back.
Is there anything that you miss at all from your older school?
Absolutely not.
Still, it remains to be seen if AI can get an A+.
We'll be watching for that one. A group of Bay Area entrepreneurs are pairing AI with traffic lights. John Ramos on the how and the why they're doing this in San Anselmo in Marin County.
Okay, we've all done this. You're sitting at a light that seems to take forever and there's no one coming from either direction. You may think that's a pretty dumb light, and you'd be right, but they are getting smarter, and it's starting right here in San Anselmo. San Anselmo is a small town, but you wouldn't know it from this intersection. Welcome to the hub, where Sir Francis Drake, Red Hill, and Center Boulevards meet.
At 65,000 cars per day, it is the busiest intersection in Marin County. But that means a lot of waiting at red lights.
If they get complaints about this intersection, they knew, residents have been telling them for years that they have a problem.
But Colin Barnwell and Sabik Pradhan may have solved that problem. Their startup company, Roundabout Technologies, has extended the same kind of intuitive awareness of self-driving cars into traffic control systems. Normal systems use cameras to monitor cars coming from each direction.
The controller is taking this input and deciding, well, if something's here, I should probably turn the light green for like 20 seconds because there might be more things there, there might not, I'm not sure. And there's a bunch of cars waiting here, there's a bunch of cars waiting here. But the sensor says there's one person here, so you keep it green.
That leaves lines of traffic waiting at red lights for one or sometimes no cars at all. But Roundabout's electronic brain assesses the actual real-time situation.
Not just cars, but every bike, bus, pedestrian, everybody that's moving around, we're mapping them into 3D space. And then we're using that, positions and velocities, to run this real-time simulation 10 times a second. We can make any light change in the timing plan that's allowed. What's the best one for throughput and safety?
They say the system is cutting time stuck in traffic at the hub by about 30%, 91 hours of combined time for drivers, at a cost of 30 cents per hour to the city. And safety is improved because it takes bikes and pedestrians into account as well. Google installed its own traffic system in Seattle, but it only uses Google Maps data to help engineers time their lights better. The Roundabout system monitors what's really happening at any given moment.
It makes a lot more sense if you can just see what's actually going on and react to what's happening in real time. So I do think that in a lot of ways this is the future, and the main reason this, you didn't see this 10, 20, 30 years ago is just because the same technology wasn't there to allow you to see everything going on the way that we can today.
The system has been operating since August, and San Anselmo is the company's first client. But the city has already gotten a grant to install the AI controller in all 12 of its stoplights. Do you feel like this has really proven its worth now?
I do, yeah. And I think it seems like San Anselmo agrees with us.
Some fear AI will be the downfall of mankind. But if it cuts time waiting in traffic, so be it.
Coming up after the break, a police commission in Antioch formed after a text messaging scandal could be in for some big changes. Why that's a source of concern for people who have pushed for more oversight. Welcome back. Now to the push and pull in the East Bay over allegations of bad behavior by public servants. In a moment, Andrea Nakano will show us the drama among community members in Oakley about whether a city councilman should step down or not. But first to Kelsey Thorud and one man's fight in Antioch to keep a police oversight commission intact.
We have a Google document of the notes. Let me do that.
Frank Sterling Jr. has some concerns about the Antioch City Council's proposed changes to the city's police oversight commission.
It's kind of an encroachment on an independent body, what is supposed to be doing oversight for the Antioch police.
Frank is a part of Reimagine Antioch, a group that advocated for the creation of the Oversight Commission in the wake of the city police department's racist texting scandal. He says some of the amendments to the commission being proposed to the city council this week will not help it function better, but could hurt it.
One of the amendments they're talking about, anybody that's trying to be on the board is going to have a background check. And it's kind of vague. In our opinion, there's mentions of social media and maybe someone's past, but we're trying to figure out more detail. What are they looking for in their background? Are they trying to exclude somebody because they made a F the police post 2 years ago when the text message scandal was breaking out?
In addition to requiring background checks, the city council is also looking at amendments that would require commissioners do ride-alongs and use of force training with the department. Another amendment would change who could be on the commission, allowing current and former police officers or their spouses who were previously barred.
We just feel that's a no-starter right there because they already have a definite voice. It'd be like asking us to sit on the APOA and have a vote in their policies.
The 7-person commission began meeting back in March of 2024, and it has been a bit rocky. Several commissioners have resigned, including one who was voted off of the commission after not attending several of their meetings.
The motion for the removal is because Commissioner Haddon has had several unexcused absences.
In a statement sent to us by the City of Antioch, City Manager Bessie Marie Scott said in part, quote, "This review process is intended to strengthen the commission's structure, clarify its authority, and align with best practices in civilian oversight." Still, Frank is worried the proposed changes to the commission could compromise its independence. All he wants is an oversight body that can do what needs to be done to make sure scandals like the one that rocked the police department never happen again.
I still definitely support, and I'm looking forward to them, finding their feet and doing what's right by the community after we came through this horrible scandal, which we just came through in the last couple of years, but it's been decades in the making.
A councilman in Oakley is refusing to resign despite calls from the city and members of the public to do so. Andrea Nakano with a glimpse of the tensions at the latest city council meeting.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Councilmember George Fuller was the only one to vote down a resolution of censure as his fellow council members called for his resignation.
A censure is not a political act, it is a moral one. It is this council saying enough. Enough of the lies, enough of the bullying, enough of the chaos that keeps good people afraid to speak up or even want to come to work.
Fuller, though, delivered a lengthy response saying he's the one that has been bullied.
Again, the allegations are not factual. Again, I see the censure as a testament to my courage, tenacity, grit, and integrity to stand up to my colleagues as they habitually create an unpleasant environment for me.
Councilmember Fuller gave examples of how he says he was attacked because of his age and disability, but directed a lot of his complaints against City Manager Josh McMurray, even recalling a meeting with McMurray claiming he saw a gun in the city manager's hands.
Based on my 22 years of service in the Los Angeles Police Department, in the United States Marine Corps during the Vietnam era, I determined Mr. McMurray had taken hold of a gun and was holding it between his legs at the low ready.
After Fuller spoke, community members gave emotional testimony, speaking out against Fuller.
You are a cancer in our community, and I don't have a cure for it. The only thing I can say is exactly what my colleagues have said. Do us a huge favor and step down.
The litany of misuses of his position is extensive. Lies, bullying, ignorance of basic ethical standards, misuse of social media, joining groups just for personal gain only, falsely accusing fellow council members. It's really disgusting.
The city of Oakley would not comment on this issue, only that a third-party investigation confirmed Fuller bullied and retaliated against city staff. The investigation has cost Oakley roughly $32,000 so far, and the findings have not been released to the public.
I am disgusted that we have even come to this. The lies and misinformation that Councilmember Fuller has put on public record tonight should motivate every resident to call for his resignation because of the risk he puts our community in.
The Oakley City Council cannot remove an elected official from office unless that person is criminally convicted or legally disqualified. When we come back, we will take you inside the hottest fight ticket in town and introduce you to the people behind the bots doing battle. A new combat sport in San Francisco is creating a world where humans and robots coexist. It's called Ultimate Fighting Bots, or UFB. Kevin Coe takes us inside the underground world of the Robot Fights Club.
They say the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about it.
This could be the next big gaming thing in the world, the next big UFC.
But it's hard to keep quiet about a new San Francisco sport made by techies, played by techies, tucked away in a basement on Market Street. If you're lucky enough to get a ticket inside, you're taken into a world where humans and robots coexist.
We want to have them like greet people, we want to have them like serve tea, we want to have them, oh, hey buddy, yeah, this is Turbo.
Xenia is the co-founder of Ultimate Fighting Bots, or UFB. She, along with her husband and co-founder, Vitali, love robots. Turbo is their personal humanoid, which they bought about a year ago.
I've done robotics for 10 years before. I've done drones, boats, rovers, industrial arms. Nothing like that I've seen before.
Turbo opened their eyes to what could be possible with humanoids, leading to the UFB.
It combines esports and traditional combat sports.
The robots fighting are controlled by humans using modified PlayStation controllers. They can also be controlled remotely by users watching a live stream. It combines the energy of combat fighting with the latest advancements in tech.
PCSF for like Seoul Bay Area.
But for Xenia and Vitali, UFB isn't just an embodiment of San Francisco today. It's also about the world ahead.
Robots are friends. They are here to help us, that if we treat them fairly, that we can actually co-create things together and work more as a team, and there is nothing to fear.
I feel like that would be really interesting to get to see the underground world of fighting robots.
That would be, I mean, think of how far we've come from back in the day when we used to play like those little fighting robots and like the, you know what I'm talking about, those the red and blue ones.
Yeah.
Just I'm
forgetting the names.
I forgot the name, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Look at how far we've come in technology. It's so cool. And you know what's also cool?
How far the sun has come
How
this
far
morning.
the sun has come this morning. Yes, it's a gorgeous start to our day. The sunrise has been spectacular. The colors absolutely vibrant. I have to show you our time lapse from atop of Salesforce from early this morning. The sun made its way above the horizon, and again, it was gorgeous out there. But another really fun camera view I have to show you. This is on top of Mount Diablo, and there's a little bit of fog in the valley, but what that's able to do is show us, look at this. This is the shadow of Mount Diablo thanks to the sunrise. This is facing west, so the sun is behind the camera. Gorgeous shot of Mount Diablo out there. Everybody's going to continue to see comfortable temperatures throughout this afternoon. We're starting off the day a couple of degrees warmer than yesterday, upper 40s to low 50s. And by the afternoon hours with clear skies, plenty of sunshine, our high temperatures are going to be warming up to a couple of degrees above what we felt yesterday. Inland communities will be sitting in the mid to lower 80s out there. Absolutely lovely for any outdoor plans. And if you want to head to the coast and enjoy the low 70s from Monterey, Santa Cruz, all the way up to Half Moon Bay and Point Reyes, I would not be surprised if they did reach that 70-degree mark, and mid-70s in downtown San Francisco. So if you're heading to Dog Fest this afternoon, or maybe the Half Moon Bay Arts and Pumpkin Festival, either way, it's going to be lovely. By tomorrow, you'll notice those temperatures, especially along our coastal communities, they're not nearly as in dark and deep of red as like what we felt today. We are expecting those coastal communities to cool down a couple of degrees tomorrow, likely going to be in the mid to upper 60s versus low 70s. Inland areas also cooling down a couple of degrees tomorrow in the upper 70s, maybe a few low 80s sprinkled in there. But either way, tomorrow a few degrees cooler than today, but it's not going to be anything too crazy out there. So moral of the story is if you are lucky enough to have tickets to the 49ers game tomorrow, you should be good to go. Make sure to wear sunscreen, sunglasses, 75 degrees. It's a perfect day for tailgating. It still might get a little bit hot out there. I want everybody to enjoy this weekend while you can, though, because like I've been talking about, next weekend, it is not going to be nearly as nice as what we are seeing this weekend. We are looking at widespread activity that's going to move across the Bay Area. This is our Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day outlook. You notice that area in deep and dark green across Northern California and Southern Oregon. This is likely going to be where the bullseye of our next atmospheric river will be arriving. So let's take a look at exactly what we can expect, because throughout the next several days, really not all too much to talk about. There's a storm system moving over the Pacific Northwest. As it pushes south, it's going to completely dissipate. We're not going to be seeing anything from it. Quiet and relatively seasonable weather will stick around through mid next week. There is going to be a little bit of tropical moisture heading our way mid to late next week, bringing a couple more clouds, maybe some slightly cooler conditions. But overall, we are not going to be seeing any rain until Friday of next week. Friday is going to be the first day that the atmospheric river is going to be making its way across the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, and then heading down to the Bay Area, where we are expecting widespread rain potential Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. It's not going to be a rain all day, every day case scenario. As you can tell, it's well off to our north that the bulk of the moisture will be hitting. But either way, the fact that we are looking at rain heading our way next week, that is a really great signal. The more rain, the better. And we saw some rain last week. Again, this weekend, though, I hope you can enjoy yourself. Enjoy the quiet time while you can, because, again, it is not going to last much longer than mid this upcoming week, where we are going to be seeing our temperatures gradually cooling down all the way through Thursday before Friday arrives. The cloud coverage moves in and the potential for rain moves in as well. So I hope everybody can soak up some sunshine and quiet conditions this weekend, because next weekend, if you do have any plans, you're going to want to make sure that they're either indoors or you can grab an umbrella. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Zoe. When we return, we'll meet a family of North Bay farmers partnering with a local chef to stop the land they've cultivated for decades from being taken away. Finally, this morning, we take a look at people making their mark on the Bay Area food scene, in the kitchen and on the farm. In a moment, Itai Hod will introduce us to a chef who is getting favorable reviews for bringing indigenous flavors and techniques to the masses. But first to Suji Nam and the longtime vegetable farmers in Santa Rosa, working to keep their legacy alive.
The crunching of the corn husks is a familiar sound echoing throughout Tierra Vegetables Farm in Santa Rosa. Lee James and her brother Wayne have cultivated Tierra black corn and other fresh vegetables for decades.
We've been farming in Sonoma County since 1980s.
James has been leasing 16 acres of farmland owned by Sonoma County along Airport Boulevard. And now the property is up for sale.
But we really, at this point, don't want to take on a huge amount of debt right at the end of our farming career to purchase a $500,000 piece of land.
Which is why James started an online fundraiser in hopes that the community can jump in to help. The county confirmed with us that they will be offering the land to Tierra Vegetables first before opening it up to other bidders.
We have luckily found someone who is interested in the legacy of the farm.
Enter Jeff Davis, an Oakland-based chef owner who sources cornmeal and other produce from Tierra Vegetables.
Being able to tell the difference between their cornmeal that's stone milled for us every week and the stuff that's been sitting in a warehouse for 5 years.
He is now partnering with the Jameses to help raise money and keep their legacy going.
I'm a farmer that's going to relocate to start kind of training with them, and as they kind of let go of the wheel a little bit.
Meanwhile, James continues to expand on her expertise, like making sunflower seed oil.
It's an old piece of equipment. I think it's from the 50s. Might be older than me.
And through this time of uncertainty, she reminisces what started it all.
My mom was a florist. We all worked at Orchard Nursery in Lafayette. And so we've been into plants. Went to some of the first farmers markets, certified farmers markets in the state.
And James hopes that by the end of the year, things will fall into place.
When you've been farming most of your, the majority of my life, you can't just quit.
In the meantime, James, who is 73 years old,
I like growing things, like eating good food. I like being with my dogs.
Plans to keep doing just that.
A trailblazing chef is earning wide recognition for her use of indigenous flavors and techniques. Itai Hod shows us how she's putting her culture on the plate.
In a city where flavor runs deep, one Oakland chef is cooking up something timeless.
We'll let that cook a little bit.
Crystal Wapipa, a proud member of the Kickapoo Nation, is turning up the heat on a cuisine that's long been left on the back burner.
Our main focus is on Turtle Island, which we call North America. So a lot of foods like beans, corn, squash.
Her restaurant, Wapipa's Kitchen, has been dishing out indigenous cuisine with a modern twist.
Is knowing where your food comes from, all the way down from the soil, how it's planted, how it's grown.
Like the Bison Warrior Wrap, the Three Sisters Veggie Bowl, and a Salmon Tostada. Wapipa is one of a growing number of indigenous chefs turning the tables on the culinary world, claiming recipes that once nourished this land.
Thank you.
Long before farm to table was even a buzzword.
Is Native American culture having a moment right now?
I would say absolutely yes.
Sean Sherman is the chef and owner of Owamni in Minneapolis, a 2022 James Beard Award winner, known for what he calls decolonized cuisine.
Our philosophy was basically just cutting out completely colonial ingredients, so there's no dairy, wheat flour, cane sugar, beef, pork, chicken in our cuisine at all.
He says although Native Americans make up about 3% of the U.S. population, there are fewer than 20 indigenous restaurants across the country.
In LA, you can find food from all over the world, but good luck finding food from the land that you're standing on from the indigenous peoples there.
As for Wapipa, business is booming. These days, she's coming out with an indigenous cookbook featuring 125 recipes, including...
Everybody loves this.
...her wild rice fritters.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes the hottest thing in food is what's been simmering all along.
Sharing culture through cuisine. I love it. All right, and one thing we probably all are going to love this weekend is the weather.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I'm so hungry from watching that package. Second of all, I cannot wait to enjoy the weather this weekend because it's going to be gorgeous out there, seasonable, if not above average, and enjoy it while you can because next weekend, it's going to be a lot different. Our next big atmospheric river on the way, widespread rain. So get ready for any next weekend plans.
Plenty to talk about then, but thank you for joining us today. Don't forget the news continues all morning and all day on CBS News Bay Area. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Have a great Saturday.